Hello, everybody. A very good morning, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are and joining us for our webinar today. I would like to welcome everybody for our webinar, which is going to be focused on the audit requirements for Microsoft Azure's cloud environment. Today, we have with us as speakers Mr. Ashwin and Mr. Swami. And just before I hand over, as you all know that our webinar will be for approximately 1 hour. In the end, 15 minutes, we'll keep it for the polls and the Q&A. So we'll be running our polls and would really appreciate for everybody to participate. Simultaneously, also, if you can see on your screens, there's a Q&A box. So after the webinar, whatever questions you have pertaining to today's webinar, you can post it in the Q&A box and our speakers will be addressing your questions. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you. And now I would like to hand over to Mr. Ashwin.
Welcome again. Thank you for joining. This is the second series of our webinar on the cloud platforms. The first was done last month on Amazon AWS. In case you guys missed it, it's there on YouTube. And if you want us the link, you can email us. We will send you the link. Also, it's there. The link is available on our website. If you can go on our website, the link of the channels is available. In this second session, we are going to cover the Azure cloud and the security and auditors' perception from the Azure cloud. And we will quickly go through the agenda today. The agenda will be the introduction of our company first, and then what is Azure shared responsibility model, and then auditing requirements in terms of these 6 areas that we have mentioned here based on the cloud security alliances, adjustment of these topics, and we will discuss these. And starting with the introduction, we are a CPA firm based out of Denver, Colorado, and an office in Mumbai, India, where we do global delivery of the audit projects. We are listed with PCOAB. We are one of the 15 only companies listed with Cloud Security Alliance. And also we have a certification body under IAS of USA. And we are one of the few entities who can give both SOC 2 and ISO under one single brand. Right? These are some of the services that we provide. SOC attestation, ISO, IC certifications only for data security and privacy. And we do the US federal assessments. We do India certain assessments, privacy assessments, VAPTs, cloud security assessments, and we have other security services that we will see in the next slide. So in the SOC attest reports, we cover the entire areas, whatever AICP offers, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. SOC for privacy is, of course, one of the criteria. Then we also do the SOC reports with the Cloud Security Alliances CSA Star or the C5. We also do cloud supply chain assessments. And in the ISO IC, we cover most of the data security, privacy requirements. And in the US federal assessments, we do FedRAMP, CMMC, FISMA, and the NIST frameworks. For India assessments, we do the Aadhaar audits, we do safe to host audits, we do the data localization audits, we do any other RBI or SEBI directive audits. Next. The next slide, please, for me.
Okay. Next.
Yeah. So the privacy, in the privacy assessments, we cover most of the states of the US. We cover GDPR, we cover HIPAA, we can do any privacy standard of the world. Of course, India's data protection bill is still there, and the new one has come. Once that becomes a law, we will cover that too. In the VAPTs, we cover the application side, we cover the mobile applications, web applications. In the network security, we cover the entire security architecture and the VAPTs in the cloud applications, cloud SaaS applications, cloud infrastructure environments, all of that we cover as part of the VAPT. In the security assessments, we do the cloud pen testing, we do the cloud supply chain assessments, we do container security, Kubernetes, Dockers, etc. And we also do the CSA Star, as we said, based on the either ISO or based on the SOC. In the other security services, we do IoT security, SCADA, industrial cybersecurity, blockchain, and we also provide cybersecurity professionals such as VAPT pen testers on long-term contract for our customers. We also recently started training on for pen testing services and VAPT services. And the three areas that we provide courses on that you can engage with us, you can join our courses is the OSCP certified pen tester, the cloud pen tester, and the red teaming. These are the three areas that we recently started with, and we have an in-house team of OSCP professionals, CH professionals. We have expanded our team so that we can expand in these areas also. Next slide. So our USP again remains the SOC 2 and ISO, where we have hundreds and hundreds of clients globally, and we audit them on SOC 2 and ISO both together. And since we are in panel with Cloud Security Alliance, our cloud is our major focus. Since the last 10 years, we have been focusing on the cloud environments. We have more than 5,000 audits completed. 99% of our clients are repeat clients. We have more than 500 global clients, and we have about 20 years of experience in this industry. Next, please. That's my profile, and many of you know me on LinkedIn or personally also. Some of you are already our clients. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years. Into the audit, I did my CEH in the year 2006, CISA in the year 2004, etc. And all of these security certifications that you see have been done gradually over the period of 4 years from 2004 to 2008. And of course, I'm a lead auditor, cloud security professional, and most of them you can see on my LinkedIn profile. So I've been a speaker in several forums, and my publications have been published in ISACA and other media globally. Next, Swami will do his introduction and take you on through this session further. Please go ahead, Swami.
Yeah, thank you, Ashwin. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Swaminathan, working as an audit delivery head at Azure. I have 37 years of experience in the IT industry, 10 plus years in cybersecurity governance and risk and compliance. I'm a qualified MCA and also a certified ISO 27000K lead auditor, and I have a lot of knowledge in terms of CCSK and SOC 2 assessments also. Also achieved organization-wide certifications in my previous engagements, and also monitored ISMS implementation, audited ISMS and SOC requirements. With this, my introduction, we will jump on to our today's topic on Azure, Microsoft Azure. We will be first looking at the overview and the shared responsibility model, and followed by the audit requirements for Azure. When we talk about Azure overview, Azure is a cloud computing platform operated by Microsoft. That platform delivers unparalleled developer productivity, and also provides support for multi-cloud and hybrid support with multi-layered security. Security at physical level, at the network level, at the application level, at the data level. All that layer of security is being provided at Microsoft Azure, and we can leverage these facilities to ensure that our applications are secure. Supports many customers, partners, and government organizations that span across broad range of products and services across geographies and industries. Also provide compliance coverage to meet security and confidentiality. With this overview, we will just go on and see how Azure, the shared responsibility model. As you all know, in cloud security, in cloud environment, the security is not only the responsibility of the cloud service provider, but also the cloud service customer, CSC, where if you are trying to keep all your system, everything in on-prem, then the provision of physical data center to information and data management, everything will be on the customer. When we try to take the services of internal infrastructure as service, then they will provide only the cloud service provider will provide only the physical aspects of it, your data center, network, and host, whereas all other things starting from provision of operating system to information and data is the responsibility of the customer. When we talk about the platform as a service, then they will be providing you additionally operating system, all other network controls, applications, identity and directory infrastructure, accounts and identities, device and mobile, information and data, all are going to be the responsibility. In this, the network controls and applications and identity and directory infrastructure is going to be the shared responsibility of a customer as well as the Microsoft. Basically, Microsoft will provide you the basic controls wherein we need to configure to our requirement to make sure that our applications are secure from that perspective. And then from the SaaS services, when we try to take software as services, then they will also provide you application, also the applications that we want to host and things like that, and you can also host your applications in the environment. Both we need to provide will be provided by the Microsoft as well as by you. And also the identity and directory infrastructure needs to be shared. Both has to be responsible for providing security from everybody's perspective. And also the accounts, identities and devices and information and data are going to be the responsibility of the customer in the SaaS environment. So this is how the shared responsibility model works in the cloud environment. With this, we will be moving to look at the audit requirements for Azure on cloud environment. When we talk about this, there are three pillars. One is security, the other is identity, and other one is compliance on Azure. Help to secure the resources, Azure resources, workloads, and applications in the cloud. Of this, there are identity access management and detection, infrastructure protection, data protection, security incident and event management, compliance and governance. These are all important. As we said, the security, identity and compliance are going to be the pillars of any security requirements of any environment, cloud environment. Now, when we talk about the identity and access management, Azure, Microsoft is provided with Active Directory. All of you know that whoever used Microsoft products, there are Active Directory available, and the same is being extended even in the cloud environment, which you can leverage that facility. And also you can have the Azure role-based access control, which you can use as per your roles. As per the roles, you can provide access to users, and you can ensure that your applications and data or infrastructure, everything is secured. Microsoft Defender for Cloud, when we talk about detection of anomalies that happens in the environment, that are being taken care as part of the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Azure Monitor, and Azure Network Watcher. These are all the three tools that we are primarily have to take care of this requirement. And also from the infrastructure protection, we have infrastructure protection can be divided into network protection and application protection. In that, if you talk about, there is an Azure providing the Azure Network Security Group is one means of differentiating the network segmentation and other aspects of it, and also using the Azure Express Route, Azure VPN, Azure Firewall, and Azure Web Application Firewall for the purpose of application security related aspects, and also Azure Infrastructure and Monitoring. It's all infrastructure needs to be monitored at periodical intervals to ensure that they are running with latest patches and latest configurations and things like that. So that also important from the protecting the infrastructure from any vulnerabilities or threats or whatever. From that perspective, next we will go to the data protection. In the data protection, we have Azure Information Protection, which is going to be talking about the labeling and labeling of informations based on the sensitivity of the data. And also we are going to use Azure Key Vault for ensuring the protecting of the encryption keys for data usage and application usage and other aspects. And also we are going to look at the Azure encryption in transit and REST. and also dedicated HSM, hardware security model, is also being provided. Everything is being provided. Now, Microsoft Sentinel is also one of the aspect of it, is for the security incident and event management. Compliance and governance is another aspect. So now we will be seeing each and every one of the aspects of security, identity, compliance, one after another. Now, let us look at something on identity and access management, where, as you are saying, that we are using the Microsoft system, where there will be Azure IAD, that is Active Directory is there, where we can provide enterprise-wide cloud identity and access management, enable single sign-on process across cloud applications, offers multi-factor authentication for enhanced security. Basically, it is always important to enable the multi-factor authentication for having better security in the environment. Also, customer will be centrally managing all the users across the cloud applications, builds Azure AD into their web and mobile applications. For the purpose of identity and access management, the customers can configure the Azure AD directory into their application, and then they can use the facility for their application identity and access management, both for web version as well as an application version, mobile app application version. Now, when we talk about role-based access control, there are role-based access control being divided into three groups: one at the subscription level, at the resource group level, and for the resources. When there are three types of access provisioning here. One is contributors, and other one is owners, the readers. Contributors can able to provide, they can able to do read and write everything, and they can update, they can do whatever they want to contribute. They can contribute to their content as from their thing at each level wherever they are. And also owners will have full control for doing management of the data and management of the accesses and other things. And also readers will have only a read permission to read the contents from the system. Now, coming back from the audit perspective, what are all the things that we will be looking at? We will be looking at the user access provision list. What are the revoked users access list, privileged user access list, how many of them are being provided with privileged access, and also who are all, whether the people who are left the organization, whether their access have been revoked or not. All that we will be looking at. And also at periodically the organization need to do a review of their user access, which is one of the important aspects. It is not enough you just provide the access to people and leave it there, and you also need to periodically review them and ensure that people who left the organization, who need not have to have access, need to be revoked on time, to ensure any kind of unauthorized access or any kind of breaches into your system or into your network or data or whatever. Okay. And also from the group side, we will be looking at the user groups list, privileged user group list, and also whoever are revoked from the user groups can be revoked or removed, and it can be from the privileged user groups. All that need to be looked at. So there also we have to do the group review also. User access review, when we talk about it, includes groups review also. We need to do all that. And then what are all the permissions provided to Azure resources and services for each and every users in the Azure environment has to be prepared as a matrix, and that need to be implemented in the system, and that needs to be communicated to all the relevant stakeholders also. When we talk about role-based access list, we will be looking at what are all the different roles that you have, what are all the privileges that they have, and also the who are all being provided with such roles, and also revoked with a revoked role-based access list, role-based access review report. For anything and everything, as you know, it is important to review at periodical intervals all these things, all the user access, identity, access management, and other aspects of it from the security perspective. Now, going back to the next action, it will be on detection. When we talk about detection, what is detection? Detection is nothing but how we are going to look at the environment, continuously monitoring it, and ensure that any anomalies happens, any kind of unauthorized access comes, we immediately defend that with appropriate controls, which are defined in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Even you can use the default configuration available for Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and you can also configure that according to your security requirements to ensure that it is meeting your company's organization information security requirements also. From that perspective, this is going to be one of the important aspects. We need to have the services of Microsoft Defender for cloud environment, and also we have Azure Monitor, which is going to monitor the application. It is going to monitor the infrastructure. It is going to monitor the Azure platform, and also it is going to look at the custom sources, whatever we have configured for our requirement, and also the data sources. When we talk about what are all the things that it will monitor the metrics part, it will monitor the logs, traces, and changes that have happened in the infrastructure, changes that happened in the application, changes that happened in the database. All that will be monitored by this Azure Monitor tool, which have a lot of insights and visualization analysis, and based on the rules, it will respond to the anomalies that is coming up in the infrastructure or in application or in database or whatever. And also they integrate all the logs and monitor them. So all logs, system logs, application logs, security logs, all that are monitored, all that are integrated and then kept in one place to have a monitoring this. So this is Azure Monitor for you. And now coming back to this other one is the Network Watcher. Network Watcher is going to be looking at the networks, that virtual networks that you create, what are all the items or resources that you have connected to virtual network. All that will be taken care by this Network Watcher. They provide tools to monitor, diagnose, and repair network resources, namely the virtual machines, virtual networks, application gateways, and load balancers, etc. Now, if you look at the following image, this talks about there is a topology diagram. There is a facility to take a topology diagram to know how your virtual network is configured, what are all the resources are included in that, and things like that. So from that perspective, if you look at it, this image, whatever we have given, is giving you the facility for knowing that how many subnets are there, how many VMs are included, and what are all the interfaces that are included into your virtual network. All that is being known. Without having this topology diagram, it is not very easy for us to know what are all the virtual networks are configured for and things like that. So for that, this diagram is going to be useful. So Network Watcher is going to provide you rules where you will be saying which which assets, which IP address should come, what will be the inbound rules, what will be the outbound rules. All that are looked into. Based on that, it watches and then coming out with the anomalies, and also it also analyze and then provide you the repair activity. Also it also automatically repair the situation to ensure that there is no untoward incident happens in the environment. Now coming back from the audit perspective, what are all the things that we will look at? We will be looking at the configurations that are there in your system, whether it is going to meet your application requirements or whether it is meeting the infrastructure requirements, platform, and other resource monitoring, whether this configuration is going to take care of all the aspects or not. And also we will be looking at the analysis part, what type of analysis are being done, and analysis reports, and also metrics related to number of anomalies and the action taken for how many anomalies which were left unattended, and where you need to come out with your action for meeting that alerts and things like that. Now coming back to the automatic response to events, Azure Network Watcher configuration is also being looked at, and what are all the configurations that have been set will be evaluated, and then we will be looking at how you are using this facility. This is from the detection perspective. Now, the third and important aspect is going to be your infrastructure facility, infrastructure protection. When we talk about infrastructure protection, it has three components. One is at the physical level, we need to protect, and at the network level, we need to protect all infrastructure, whatever we have with reference to network, with reference to application, also we need to protect. What are all the things that are available for you to protect infrastructure? From the physical security perspective, it all will be taken care by Azure. They have CCTV cameras and other related aspects of it. They have been implementing it, and all will be there. And also from your perspective, how you are going to segment the network and things like that. We need to segment them, right? From a DMZ separately to be there, and all other things are being done using Azure Network Security Groups. And the net security groups contain security rules where it's going to have both inbound and outbound rules. And for each rule, we will be providing the rule will be provided with source and destination, port and protocol by specified with allow or deny access, right? So all that will be done in the network security group. With this, you will be able to protect your network as well as protect your application as well as protect your infrastructure from unauthorized access and other things. Now, coming back, the express route, it's also basically within a site. If you want to have connectivity, then you can probably use the express route, which will enable you to have uninterrupted connectivity, which is going to take care of this without getting affected by the latency issues. Okay, so for that purpose, we are going to use this express route. This is one another aspect. And also VPN, how you are going to have, what kind of connectivity you are going to have, whether you are going to have site-to-site connectivity or point-to-site connectivity, all that. Remote workers, how they will try to get connected to your isolated virtual network, all that can be done through this Azure VPN thing. And also from the Azure enables connection from customer sites to remote workers to Azure virtual networks using site-to-site and point-to-site VPN, configures the point-to-site VPN client in Windows. Customer has to configure that, and also manages the certificates, policies, and user access using this Azure VPN. Now, another one is Azure Firewall, where they also control access from internet, permits, as we said, that it's going to allow or deny some of the only allowed IPs, and also the traffics will be taken care, will be monitored based on the configuration that is there in the firewall. Customer applies corporate firewall for using site-to-site VPN connectivity. Generally, from the next important aspect is that for monitoring the application, web application, also for providing access to applications and things like that, we will be using the web application firewall feature, where you will be going to ensure that you are going to be protected against cross-site scripting attack and SQL injection attacks, and only you allow valid requests from the user and allow them to have access to your application. And it's based on the sites, whichever sites you are implemented, that also will be configured using this web application firewall. So this is from the infrastructure perspective. It is for the application perspective. From application, whatever the three things that we talked earlier was for network, and this is for application. Now coming back, the audit requirements, what are all the things that we are going to look at are that we are going to look at the configuration details of the firewalls, the express route, VPN, network security group, and also what are all the alerts created and what action taken. All that need to be looked at from the network perspective. The same we will be looking at from the application protection perspective. We will be looking at the WAF configurations, that is web application firewall configuration, how it has been configured, what are all the valid requests that it will allow, what it will not allow, all that logs that is getting created, and also the alerts and action taken by them. Sometimes what happens is that it is important to, even here, we need to have a review process of the logs, and also we need to have the action item implemented on time to avoid any kind of unauthorized access to applications or unauthorized data breach and other aspects of it. Now coming back, as per next important aspect will be as data protection. When we talk about data protection, it's all, there are different types of data. Data will be in multiple forms. It will be in database, it will be in your flat files, it can be in any form. But many data that we use in our environment, they need to be classified to the sensitivity of the data. So for that, Azure is providing you a facility, what is called information protection. So from the information protection is going to enable you to label the data and configure them with the relevant with relevant classification on data available in file shares, data available in SharePoint server, data available in NAS storage. All that can be connected, and also you can do that with your SQL server database also. So this is one of the important aspect that is there available in Azure. You can leverage this for the purpose of protecting your data. Now, another one is that Azure Key Vault. When we talk about Azure Key Vault, what it is going to do is that it is going to keep all the keys that you are using for protecting your data throughout your data lifecycle, starting from creation, storing, retention, and removal. So all these things, till that during the data lifecycle, whatever keys that you are going to use, that all will be stored in this Azure Key Vault, and people will have, only who can have access to that, only we can able to use this. Whenever you want to use the key, you have to get connected to this Azure Key Vault, and the appropriate keys will be used for your application and other related requirements. Now, coming back to the next one is that it is data to be encrypted and kept in the environment. Whenever you do any transfer of data between the sites, between the data centers and things like that, they all need to be encrypted and sent. So what happens is that we will be trying to use the HTTPS connectivity between the sites connectivity, and also we need to use a REST API for storage requirements, anything that we want to do. And also we'll encrypt the traffic between web client and server by implementing TLS on IIS. This is how the data transit, that is data that is getting transit during transit, how it is protected is been defined, has been shown here. And you can use the Azure portal for that, and also we can use the Azure uh, encryption features. Yeah. Now coming back to the data at rest, if you look at it, we have to protect data what is available in virtual machine, what is available in the storage, what is available for applications. Even at the applications, whatever data that is coming in and going out, they also need to be protected. And there's appropriate encryption methodology needs to be followed for the purpose of that. So that is features is also available in Azure. One can leverage that to protect your data. Now, from the data protection perspective, what are all the things that we will be looking at? When we looking at these configuration details of the Azure Key Vault, for what are all the data that is getting captured, what are all the keys available, for what purpose, for requirements and things like that. And also Azure has also have provision for connecting with hardware security module. You can use that also for your data protection, key protection, cryptographic key protection. And also when we talk about encryption enablement related to data at rest and data in transit also will be reviewed, and we will be looking at the configurations that you have done for your environment and for your applications also will be looked at. This is from the data protection perspective. Of these three, when we talk about infrastructure, application, networks, data are all going to be important aspect where we need to ensure that they are protected and ensure that it is meeting our organization's information security requirements. Now, the next and important aspect is looking at the security incident and event management, SIEM. When we talk about SIEM, we need to ensure that all incidents that are happening in your environment need to be addressed, need to be looked at, and need to be mitigated with from by looking at the threats and vulnerabilities based on what it is happening and what additional controls you have to put. All that we have to configure them. For that, Azure is providing with a tool called Sentinel. What is earlier it was known as Azure Sentinel, now it is Microsoft Sentinel. Microsoft Sentinel is a scalable cloud native solution that provides security orchestration, automation, and response. See, when we talk about Sentinel, Sentinel has the feature of collecting all your security data from using your logs. It used to collect all the data, and also it covers all the data across your enterprise. And for collecting data across enterprise, we need to configure Sentinel for that. And also it also detects all the threats and also threats using the test intelligence to ensure that they are responded, and it also respond rapidly to automate the protection. Basically, it's also automate all the activity. Basically, it's identify the threats, identify the vulnerabilities, and actions also implemented. For actions to implement, they all need to be configured within the tool, then only it will be effective. So we need to look at all that. So Microsoft Sentinel is your bird's eye view across the enterprise, alleviating the stress of increasingly sophisticated attacks, increasing volumes of alerts, and long resolution time frames. Collect data and cloud scale, and detect the previously undetected threats, investigate threats with artificial intelligence feature, and also response to incidents rapidly. There will be a lot of, they also avoid all ensure that past false positives are avoided and things like that. So all that we need to look at. If any changes to be made in the configuration, that you can do using your features, these features available in Microsoft. So from the security incident and event management perspective from Sentinel, What is that we will look at? We will be looking at the sentinel configuration related to incident and events, and also we will be looking at the incident response playback, procedure document, policy document, and also your report template, whether it is covering all the aspects of incident reporting and other things, and also sample incident reports and sample incident communication with relevant interested parties, also incident analysis report, incident action taken report, and incident monitoring through Sentinel. What are all the things that have been happening? All these things we will be looking at. Now, the last important aspect is compliance and governance. What are all the compliance and governance that are provided by Azure? If we want to look at where we will be able to look at, it's all available. The reason why all these compliance and governance, what was provided by Azure, we need to have a look at, because whether all these controls and compliance, whatever is there, is it going to meet our organizational requirements or not? If not, then probably we may have to request for that with Azure, or we have to have a separate assessment for those controls in the cloud environment that you are using with Azure. So for that, third-party verification reports will be there, access to audit reports available. They have providing you compliance packages. They are providing best practices and guidance available. And we have all these things are going to be available to you from the Microsoft Trust Center. So Cloud Security Alliance reports, Security Response Center progress report, Security Intelligence report, all these are available for you to evaluate and ensure what kind of additional controls you have to put in order to ensure that your applications are secured and your clients are assured of security in the cloud environment. So from that perspective, it is important. So now, what are all the things that we will be looking at? We will be looking at all the compliance report related to Azure will be looked at. And also we will be looking at what are all the compliance that you have configured for your requirements in the cloud. That is also will be looked at. So that's it from our side. I would like now request Mr. Ashwin to add some more insights on the audit requirements from Azure.
Mr. Swami, Mr. Ashwin is not available with us, so you can continue and just give us the final conclusion points, and then yes, we can open it for Q&A.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. So this is a disclaimer from us. Whatever information that we are talking is all our understanding, and which are all going to be available in the Azure portal. You can always refer to them. And also is nothing related to any organization. Whatever we said, it's a general guidance for people to ensure how to protect your cloud environment and other aspects of it. And any time you want to take our assessment services, we can always reach out to us and to info@accedere.io. Thank you. You can post your questions in the questionnaire box. We will also answer to them.
Thank you, Mr. Swami. That was a great presentation. I hope everybody gained some insights and have much better clarity on the topic which was at hand today. Now I would like to request everybody to please post your questions in the Q&A box, and I would also urge you all that please participate in our polls, because it really helps us gaining feedback and understanding better. So please participate in our polls and also post your questions in the Q&A box.
The question that I have is that
I'll read out the question, and then Mr. Swami, you can take it forward.
No problem.
So the question we have is that, can AIP detect card number in clear format?
To be very honest, what we are providing is only at the audit requirements perspective. We are not talking anything about the implementation of it and things like that. We have to probably go and test it out by yourself and then come to know whether it is providing that support or not. Yeah, whatever session that we have taken is only from the audit perspective, what we will be looking at and things like that. So it hopes answer your query. Now, Ian, yeah, is there any audit checklist for Azure Data Factory and EverTube? So basically, no, we will not be keeping the checklist ready for anything. We will be looking at your configuration and your requirements, and then we will be coming out with our questions, answers at that point in time when we do the assessment. Request all to attend the polls also, so that it will be.
We'll wait a few more minutes, guys.
Yeah.
If you have any questions,
Yeah,
please post it in the Q&A section. Otherwise, we can, call it a day. So we'll wait for another 3 minutes.
What benchmarks do you follow with reference to what? Basically, no, it is all the SOC 2 and ISO standards, C5 for CISA, CSA, as we were talking about in the initial of our presentation, that we are looking at those benchmarks. Azure Security Review. I'm not able to understand the question. What is this Azure Security Review? As such, we cannot, go and then evaluate the controls in Azure and talk about, because those reports are already out, and we can depend on that reports fairly, and we will be reviewing the controls implemented by you in the Azure environment, what we will be doing. Yeah.
Guys, so if there are no more questions, then I think we can just wrap this up. If you have any questions, we'll just wait for a minute more. Please post your questions and also please participate in the polls.
Thanks for this. Sorry, you missed it. If at all, we will be definitely covering it in the subsequent time. Arva, I think we can close the call,
Yes.
right?
Okay, fine. So, thank you guys. I would like to thank everybody for joining our session today. And we'll be wrapping this up since we don't have any more questions. And just a quick update that if you guys are interested in our services of VAPT or training programs, then you can always send us an email, contact us. You have all our details. And also stay tuned with us on our LinkedIn page. We keep posting about our upcoming webinars. So stay tuned for our next webinar. And thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Swami. I'm wrapping this up. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you.